The first time I saw him, I hated him so much that I wanted to punch him in the face, and somehow, by the end of that night, I almost kissed him instead. Fate has a funny sense of humor, especially when it dresses up as a rich, infuriatingly handsome stranger in a Manhattan penthouse. It all started on a rainy Thursday. I was soaked, clutching my cheap umbrella like a lifeline, when I stumbled into a posh downtown bar that screamed money and power in every polished corner. And there he was, sitting in the far corner like a predator disguised as a prince. Leo Kincaid, the name alone made my stomach twist. Son of the tech mogul who everyone feared and envied. He had that effortless arrogance of someone who knew he could get anything, anyone, with just a glance. My first instinct was to avoid him. My second was to trip over the bar stool in front of him. "You okay there?" he asked, his voice smooth, low, dripping charm with a hint of mockery. "Perfectly," I snapped, cheeks heating. I was definitely not okay. Not okay at all. Hours later, in a blur of drinks and bad decisions, or perhaps just a terrible sense of timing, I found myself standing on his private balcony, the city lights stretching endlessly below us. One night, one mistake, and suddenly the line between loathing and longing blurred in ways I never imagined. I woke up the next morning in his massive bed, the skyline shining over the city, and realized I had no memory of how I got there. Panic surged through me. He was already awake, leaning against the headboard, arms crossed, smirking like he owned the world. "Morning," he said, simple, casual, like it wasn't the biggest disaster of my life. I froze. Words failed me. I was furious, embarrassed, and, strangely, intrigued. "I think you need to explain," I managed finally, voice shaky. He laughed, low and warm. "Explain what?" "That you let fate or maybe alcohol make a very bold choice." I glared. This was a mistake. "Maybe," he said, eyes sparkling with mischief. "But it was a fun mistake." From that moment, Leo made it his mission to turn every encounter into a calculated chase. Coffee in the mornings, lunch in the park, random messages that somehow made me laugh and groan in equal measure. He didn't push. He didn't demand. He simply existed in every corner of my life, quietly persistent. And damn it, it worked. We started seeing each other in the open, walking down Fifth Avenue, trying new diners in Queens, even watching the sunrise from the Brooklyn Bridge. Each moment carried a weight, a pull that made it impossible to pretend we were just two people casually flirting. And our city witnessed it all. The small touches, the secret smiles, the stolen kisses in hidden alcoves, under flickering street lamps. But life wasn't just laughter and stolen glances. There were misunderstandings, jealous rumors whispered through the corporate grapevine, and the constant reminder that he was Leo Kincaid. And I was me, a simple man with a simple life suddenly caught in the orbit of someone unstoppable. Someone who could break me in ways I didn't know I could be broken. I remember one night, sitting across from him in a dimly lit diner on 42nd Street, the rain tapping a steady rhythm against the window. I wanted to push him away. I wanted to tell him that this was dangerous, that this was impossible, but my hands wouldn't stop reaching for his. His fingers found mine across the table, firm, insistent. "You don't have to fight it," he said softly, eyes dark, serious. "I'm not going anywhere." And just like that, the walls I had built around myself, around my heart, began to crumble. We had our first fight 3 weeks later. A stupid misunderstanding involving a text I hadn't replied to and a rumor he overheard in the office. He was furious, and I ran. Manhattan became a blur, a maze of streets and taxi lights, until I stopped at the river, gasping, shaking. And then he appeared, calm, collected, and somehow terrifying in his quiet power. "You think running will fix anything?" he asked, stepping closer. The world seemed to pause. Rain soaked us both, but I couldn't feel it. Only him. "You don't get it," I whispered. "I can't." "Can't what?" he pressed, hands gently holding my face. "Love me? Trust me? Let yourself be happy." The words hung between us, fragile, vulnerable. And then, finally, I let go. I let him in. Our days became a rhythm of tender routines and passionate nights, the kind of love that felt dangerous because it was real. We navigated Manhattan like it was our playground, finding secret rooftops, quiet bookshops, and little diners where the waitress knew our orders by heart. I met his friends, and they teased, tested, and ultimately accepted me as part of his world. He met mine, and something shifted in him to Leo Kincaid, untouchable, unstoppable, suddenly soft, gentle, entirely human. And in the quiet moments, when the city hummed around us, he would pull me close and whisper, "One night, one mistake, and now I can't imagine a world without you." It wasn't perfect. There were still challenges, shadows from our pasts, fears that crept in when least expected. But through every misstep, every doubt, every sleepless night, we discovered a truth that neither of us could deny. Some mistakes are meant to become the best parts of your life. We learned to fight together, to love fiercely, to navigate the chaos of our worlds without losing each other. Leo wasn't just the CEO's son anymore. He was mine, and I was his. The city stretched before us, alive and endless. And in the glow of the skyline, with his hand in mine, I realized something profound. Life could be unpredictable, messy, even terrifying. But with him, every storm felt like a homecoming. The following months were a whirlwind, and Manhattan never felt bigger or smaller than when we were together. Every corner of the city seemed to have a memory of us. Whether it was the little Italian bistro in Soho where Leo insisted on paying for my espresso, or the quiet bench in Central Park where I finally let myself fall asleep against his chest after a long day. But with each intimate moment came the unavoidable reality. Our worlds were different, irreconcilable in the eyes of those who didn't understand. I still remember the first time we tried to introduce our relationship to the outside world. A casual brunch with his business colleagues had me sweating through my shirt, unsure whether I was more intimidated by their wealth or their judgmental gazes. Leo, as usual, handled it with a casual grace that made my nervous stuttering feel even more exposed. He leaned in, whispered, "Don't worry about them. Worry about me." And suddenly, the anxiety melted away into a warmth I didn't know I deserved. Yet, life has a way of reminding you that love, no matter how intense, doesn't erase complications. There were moments when the weight of our differences pressed in hard. His world of boardrooms, contracts, and public appearances, and mine of simplicity, laughter, and late-night food trucks. Our arguments were often the result of misunderstandings, not malice text messages read wrong, comments overheard, assumptions made in haste. But even in those fights, something never broke between us. One evening, after a particularly heated disagreement about his decision to take on a high-stakes merger that would keep him away for weeks, I stormed out into the chilly autumn night, boots clattering against the cobblestones of the West Village. My anger roared through me, mingling with fear that maybe, just maybe, this couldn't last. The street lamps cast long shadows, and the city felt unbearably lonely. And then I saw him, Leo, standing under a dim streetlight, coat collar turned up against the wind, hands tucked in pockets, watching me with that look I knew too well, the one that stripped me bare, leaving me unable to resist him even when I wanted to. "You're impossible," I spat, trying to sound mad, but my voice faltered. "And yet," he replied, stepping closer, his presence radiating warmth, "you still can't stay away." I wanted to argue. I wanted to push him back. But as his hand brushed against mine, all my defenses crumbled. In that single, quiet moment, I understood that love wasn't just about easy mornings or perfect dates. It was about persistence, patience, and vulnerability. The night we finally admitted our fears, sitting atop a quiet hill in Riverside Park with the city twinkling below, was a turning point. Leo's hand held mine with an intensity that silenced the usual chatter in my head. "I don't care about anyone else," he said softly. "I don't care about my title, my reputation, or the chaos waiting for me at every turn. You are my priority." I laughed softly, a sound mingled with disbelief and relief. "You make it sound so simple," I said. "But life isn't simple. Nothing worth having ever is." he countered, leaning close so that his lips brushed my ear. But I promise you this. I'll fight for you, every day, no matter what. And he did. The next few weeks were filled with little gestures that defined our love. Handwritten notes slipped into my bag, surprise deliveries at work, quiet dinners on his balcony, and unplanned trips to escape the suffocating corporate world. We learned each other's rhythms, our silent language of glances, touches, and soft laughter. One night, after a late film at a retro cinema in Brooklyn, we found ourselves walking along the East River. The city lights danced on the water, 1,000 reflections of 1,000 stories. Leo stopped and took my face in his hands. "Do you know what scared me the most?" he asked, his voice low. "That I could lose you before I ever truly had you." I felt my chest tighten, a mix of love and fear swirling inside me. "I was scared too," I admitted. "Scared that you'd realize I wasn't enough, that this couldn't survive in your world." He smiled, brushing the rain-soaked hair from my forehead. "You don't have to worry about that anymore. We're making this work together." Months turned into seasons, and our love matured like the city we called home. Winter brought quiet mornings, wrapped in blankets and hot cocoa, our laughter echoing through his high-rise apartment. Spring brought long walks, discovering hidden gardens, and soft kisses under blooming cherry blossoms. We faced challenges, of course, business conflicts, media scrutiny, and the occasional cold argument, but each obstacle only strengthened our bond. The turning point came on my birthday. Leo, who usually celebrated with extravagant gestures, surprised me with a quiet night at the pier. A blanket spread on the wooden boards, lanterns casting soft golden light, and the sound of the water lapping against the docks. He handed me a small box. Inside, a delicate necklace, engraved with our initials intertwined. "I wanted to give you something permanent," he said, eyes serious. "Something that says no matter where life takes us, we belong to each other." I felt tears sting my eyes. "Leo, no words," he whispered, taking my face in his hands. "Just us, always us." And in that moment, the chaotic, dazzling city fell away. It was just him and me, two souls who had collided by chance, clung to each other through fear, misunderstanding, and doubt, and emerged stronger, ready to face whatever the world threw our way. Summer arrived with warm nights and the promise of adventures yet to come. We danced on rooftops under the stars, ate ice cream on crowded streets, and discovered that love was as much about ordinary moments as grand gestures. Leo taught me to embrace spontaneity. I taught him the beauty of slowing down. Together, we created a life filled with laughter, tenderness, and the kind of intimacy that goes beyond physical attraction, the kind that heals old wounds and builds something lasting. I will never forget the day he held my hand in Times Square, amidst the chaos and neon lights, and whispered, "I choose you, every day, in every way." It wasn't a declaration to the world, but to me, and it meant everything. Our love story was never conventional. It didn't follow rules or timelines. It was messy, passionate, and fiercely real. From a night of mistakes to a lifetime of promises, Leo and I had navigated heartbreak, misunderstandings, and fear to find something rare, a love that refused to let go, that thrived on honesty, laughter, and unwavering devotion. And as I leaned against him one late autumn evening, the city skyline glowing behind us, I realized that the mistake of that one night had become the foundation of everything beautiful in my life. The city, with all its chaos and beauty, had witnessed our journey. And in Leo's arms, I knew that no matter the challenges ahead, I was home. Because some mistakes aren't mistakes at all. They're the universe's way of introducing you to the love you didn't even know you were waiting for. And with Leo, I had found that love, in all its messy, breathtaking, and unrelenting glory. Our story continues, one day at a time, hand in hand, hearts intertwined, proving that even in a world full of chaos and expectations, love can bloom in the most unexpected, beautiful ways. Thank you for listening. If you find it interesting, please like and subscribe to follow the next stories.